Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of New Book Who Dis. I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is a longtime friend of mine, Mr. MK Gibson, and
how you doing, brother?
Sandy Butchers. Welcome, both of you. It's good to see you guys. I am super fucking excited about this. Because, I mean, Gib knows how much I love these books. And yeah, it takes a minute.
The level of hype I'm getting is amazing. I'm like getting a hype boner off of this. I love it.
I mean, I paid $40 for this little soundboard over here, and I have gotten my money's worth out of it, man. I got it on Wish too, which is surprising.
Really? All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it arrives. Wow.
Yeah. No, it works. You know, I got my XLR cables, and this is actually a microphone that my dad used to use on stage back in the '80s because he was a musician. So I inherited all of his equipment, and yeah, it works. You know, been a great little board. I also got this Mjolnir. This movie replica Mjolnir back here from Wish, and it worked out for me. I've heard horror stories of people getting stuff from Wish and it just not working out. Like clothes never work. I mean, I am too broad-shouldered for anything off of Wish, but like the technology so far and like the props, yeah, it's worked. Knives, I've gotten a lot of knives off of Wish. But yeah, welcome, folks. Another episode of New Book Who Dis, and we are talking Technomancer, the Illustrated Edition. So, how have you guys been? You know, Gib? It's been a long time since I've talked to you. You know, like shit, man.
Just actually sat down to shoot the shit. Yeah. Brother, I'm good, man. Like I'm living my dream. You know, I left my real job some time back to just become a full-time writer a little over a year ago.
That's fantastic, dude.
And well, I mean, I'm brilliant or incredibly stupid, but like I'm fortunate. Like my time in the military, my retirement, fills that gap of of cash. So that's what gave me the opportunity, and a loving wife who's extremely supportive. And she's like, no, just do it. We're fine. So I did. And so it gave me time to just write. So just trying to crank out books, not in a bad, not a money press kind of way, but just dive into what I love. So
absolutely.
And it was during this time when I got a chance to meet Sandy, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster, and
How long has it been since we actually met? I think that's 1.5, 2 years.
Just over a year. Well, it's just over a year. It was I think it was March, April of last year. I think is when we met.
Dude, I feel like I know you forever. That's weird.
Same. Well,
you guys interact like you've known each other forever, so that's great. I mean,
well, I can't. I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for Sandy, obviously, but dude, when you meet someone who's creatively you get each other, and it's not finishing each other's sentences, but it's we have such a good push and pull that we like a lot of the same things. We like some of the same things about the same things, and we have just enough of differences where we will argue over something that we're both passionate over and try to meet in the middle where possible. Right. And then put our foots down. We're like, no, this is a no starter for me. By the way, the answer is glossy covers.
No, it's got to be matte cover.
You shall not pass.
Yeah, I'm adamant in this one.
I ordered 4 copies, 2 glossy, 2 matte, and when they show up, I'll send you yours. And
you're gonna drool all over the matte coated cover.
With my balls all over the matte one.
Just don't send those.
I mean, it won't leave an imprint.
I can't make promises.
Saying, yeah. I don't know, man. Those I don't even know what they call it, but that kind of soft touch matte cover that they use on paperbacks. I mean, it feels so good in the hands, man.
I know.
I'm just saying. I've had some graphic novels show up from crowdfunded books, and damn if they don't feel good in the hand. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm saying when you have something with some color on it, you want it to be pop. I've seen plenty of matte colored, the colors get muted. And
Yes,
that's what I
it
don't.
can.
What's what I don't want. I
Yeah.
want it to like be just something that's like has that slick cyberpunk gloss to it. So what we're
Totally.
arguing is about is like so Sandy and I, are
mean,
still working on the proofs of this
you
in
could
this
compromise.
book of ours.
Right. I'm saying you could compromise and you could get spot gloss. You know, have that matte in the background, but have like the spot gloss to make those.
But can
those
you do
cyberpunk
that?
things
Because
pop.
I said that, and I said that would be
It won't.
brilliant to have, but the press doesn't.
okay.
The
do
sad
that.
point is, since we have to use Amazon for the actual manufacturer of the book,
Oh.
it's matte or glossy. Take your choice.
Yep.
So we ordered some proofs of like the book. So
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll do a side by side comparison and like argue. And I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to lose this no matter what.
She's trying to
But
brain it.
at least I will have a glossy cover
We'll
in
have
my
one
hand.
with the ugly banner, not for sale. Yes, that's what
I
you will get.
don't care.
He's gonna have that gloss cover. It doesn't matter. Yep. It's gonna go in the collection. It's gonna stay there. He'll be buried with it. Yeah.
And gather dust. Yes.
Like everything else in my house. That's fine.
I mean, you know, when you're a collector, you know, and you don't feel like dusting, believe me, I get it. I mean, trust me, I get it.
There's a reason we all put that behind glass so it doesn't gather as much dust as we, as it ends up gathering.
You know what?
Behind glass.
I'd be worried about putting that much glass behind me because I'm kind of klutzy, and I have a tendency to trip over things and break. Yeah, no, I'd rather just not do that.
Acrylics?
That might actually work better. You know, put acrylic up.
You're welcome.
Yeah. As long as it's the thick acrylic and I don't, accidentally
Yes.
fall through that.
The stuff they have in prison, like the 8mm stick, or 8mm, what's that in foot, fingers, toes, and stroopwafels? I don't know the measurements in the US.
Did you just say stroopwafels?
Yeah, I did. This is a little inside joke.
Oh,
We measure
man,
people in stroopwafels, yeah.
Yeah, you
I
get
had a
used. Like how many
stroopwafel in a
wooden
minute.
shoes thick is it? And I don't know the answer.
It's 5
so-
clocks and 6 stroopwafels, that's what it is.
Now I want
That's my life,
stroopwafels.
by the
Damn
way.
it. Yeah, I went
Waffles are kind of good. I ain't gonna.
They really are, man. That was one of my favorite things when I went over to Holland is the stroopwafels, like the fresh stroopwafels, and obviously frites sauce, the frites
Yes,
met mayo.
mayonnaise.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's seasoned mayonnaise. It's not just mayo, but it's pretty close. At least
wow.
that's what they tried to tell me. Maybe I was completely wrong.
I wonder which one you had, like the yellow stuff or the white stuff?
It was white. It was white.
It's mayonnaise. But
yeah.
seasoned?
Tell me more.
Is it sticky?
I mean, it's unhealthy
mean-
for Jello, right? No, but it was a fun trip to Holland. The stroopwafels were better than the frite sauce, but yeah, I actually do remember trying to bring some of that stuff home, and yeah, international traveling with food, even back in 2009, was not the easiest thing. They took my damn beef jerky, the fuckers.
Ah.
Yeah, I was pissed because they wanted. I have no idea. Somebody wanted my
It's
beef
meat.
jerky.
Yeah, you cannot transport meat across.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
didn't
really
realize
meat?
that.
I mean,
It
Wonder,
seemed
right?
like meat. It was a meat-like product, I'm sure.
right.
Yeah. I mean, it's most of what we get over here, right? Beef jerky is a meat-like product anymore.
Very much so.
Oh, man. All right. So, do you guys read anything while you're working on stuff? Like, Sandy, do you pick up art books and read stuff while you're working on a project, or is it just working on a project for you guys right now?
The one thing I read while working on TECHNOMACER is TECHNOMACER.
I mean, okay. Aside from the source material, it's
Yeah.
inspiration. Pick up little details.
Yes and no. Like sometimes I do pick up like some examples from old art books or like new art books, whatever.
Right.
I remember for the little Meet the Cast booklet that we made as a sort of before part of the book. I took a lot of inspiration from the Deus Ex art book.
Oh yeah,
because I simply love that game, and in terms of vibe and like the right atmosphere, that was my first hold on to, before going into TECHNOMACER.
Yeah.
So a lot of the layout sort of came from there, started there, like how do I want to display the characters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, the challenge is always to let stuff go as quickly as I can because I don't want it to become a replica. So I smell it. And then I let
you
it
get
go.
a little bit
And
of
then I
that
start.
flavor, you get the idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Something for inspiration. That's what inspiration should
Exactly.
be.
Yeah.
What about you, buddy? Do you when you're working on something, what do you use for inspiration?
I see what you're G.I. Joe cartoons, mostly from my youth.
Yes.
Well, no, it's one of those, like, you know, you have one of those stupid brains that's just like a sponge that's just full of all the crap that's filled in there and everything. So I think it's a situation like this. Like when I was doing Technomancer specifically, it was like I grew up in the church as a kid, you know, and I later in life I became a little bit more agnostic. But I grew up in the church, a lot of Bible school, a lot of Sunday school, a lot of like heaven, like fire and brimstone. You're going to hell if you touch yourself, kind of church.
God.
But so when like Revelation,
God is always watching. Yep.
Right. You know, so it's one of those scenarios like, so the book of Revelation speaks specifically of like a time, you know, like here comes the apocalypse, you know, it's going to happen, you know, Jesus is going to come back and there'll be a rapture, hell's going to rise, take over 1,000 years of darkness, all that, you know, and that scared the shit out of me as like a 7-year-old. But later in life, I'm like, that would be dope. Okay, let me think about this. You know, and
make a good story.
This is where everybody realizes it went wrong.
So, but it's one of those like, you know, I grew up with like things like, you know, like you can't deny the what things like Star Wars or Flash Gordon or Highlander or all these, you know, seminal like stories that you grew up with, you know. And so of course, you know, when you read things like William Gibson's like, you know, Neuromancer or Altered Carbon, you know, or things like that, you know, you can't, or Blade Runner for fuck's sake, you know, Philip K. Dick novels are just like, you know, everybody's ripping them off for years. So you look at like these stories of like, you know, these other greater minds, and I like Sandy says, you mentally pass by it, feel the feeling, and then make your own thing, you know? And so it's like, I was told by one fan that I accidentally recreated like Shadowrun, even though I never played Shadowrun as a kid.
Right.
You know, I never read the books, but like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, magic and technology mixed with corporations and cybernetics. They're like, Shadowrun. I'm like, fuck. Okay, well, mine's different because I, you know, and I'm going back and look like, okay, there is a difference, but like, so if you like Shadowrun, then this is something that's up your alley. Yeah. But I like, you know, inspiration can come from like music or from, you know, watching a good show, you know, like sometimes you just got to get that mindset and that feel, you know, like I was talking to someone the other day about how I write, how everybody writes. Everybody's got their own kind of style, but for me, it's like a show, book, movie, something should have the same feeling as your favorite song. Stick with me.
Yeah.
Bump, bump. The opening is there. It gets you in the mood. Then something cool kind of happens. And then like you got a nice refrain going. And then you hit that bridge. And then the song starts to build before it comes crashing down at the end. Yeah. That's the same beats as a story, you know, just in musical form. So if you can kind of follow that formula while throwing your shit in there, you know, like you can get people go along for the ride, you know, and that's all I really try to do.
Yeah, and you know that the way it's constructed, people, it's familiar. You know, it's familiar to people. They pick up on that familiarity, but then you add new stuff in there, and you tell an entertaining story along the way, and you have this amalgamation of everything coming together to make an entertaining yarn. You know, people dig the story, they get into the characters.
In case of Technomancer, I'm sorry, I'm like,
no, go ahead, go.
Like for Technomancer, I think, I mean, you're speaking of stuff that is familiar. I think the one thing that is so strong with Technomancer is the characters are super familiar. Like when you read the first book, like To Beat the Devil, you feel like you know Salem. Like you read the first page, you're like, I know this guy. He's like my whatever distant cousin twice removed. No, you know, it's they are so close to you as a person. And I think that also makes it so much easier to just open the book and get lost.
Absolutely.
And ride that vibe, you know, like you just described it. It's,
It, you know, you pull from you know the people that you know and the people that you've encountered along the way, and it adds that verisimilitude that makes these characters in the world feel real, feels lived in. You know, that's one of my favorite things about this series is that the world really feels lived in. You know, it feels like you've actually thought about like what all of the changes would be, like the consequences of this, how things would change that way. You know, and it, like I said, it feels lived in. I love it, man.
Well, I appreciate that. I like, because my favorite sci-fi is the grungy sci-fi where everything is like click clack toggles. Like if you're on a spaceship, you're gonna hear the planks under your feet, the metal grates. I don't like clean sci-fi. I like grungy sci-fi. You know, and I want that grungy. Realistic. Well, it is, and it's like I want this thing to feel like it's cobbled together out of wires, hopes, dreams, and you know, like a prayer. And I think what sold me on Sandy specifically, because when we became friends through a common Facebook group, was I got a chance to read some of her Singularian stuff, which was so cool. But it was beyond just being really cool writing, the art that was attached to it spoke to a yeah, everything's in the background, like this darkness, this grit, this world. But she visualizes when she writes, and you can't have one without the other. So when you meet someone else who's very visual based, and they pick up your visual style work and immediately start drawing pictures because they get it, and it was just like, and I like that. Because Sandy, we always joke, she's like, Thomas Kincaid's a master of light. Well, Sandy's a mistress of darkness because she starts dark and she'll add little bits of light to like give you the hints of like a hope or a promise or something that's there, which is kind of what I wrote. So it just felt right. So when I reached out to her, I was like, would you be willing to like even entertain the idea of an illustrated version? She said, hold my beer. And I was like, all right.
And then you got your first piece of fan art.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I hammered that first piece of fan. At this point, it's like it's almost a legend, and it's not even that good. If you look at what we make now, like this is the real stuff, that we're doing. And I hammered that fan art thing out in like 20 minutes, like la 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 la, smack some colors on it. You were like, what? And I was like, dude, that's nothing. But I'm glad it makes you happy. And now we're looking back
pretty
at
colors
it, like,
amaze me. I'm so basic. So
shiny.
But now
you like
we
the
look
shiny.
at it, like this was. Yeah, it was the catalyst into everything that we are doing now. It's like it started with a 20-minute sketch with whatever colors. And
well, then you did the sketch
for
T when you did the one for Tesla from the book,
okay.
and that one was like that was the real selling point.
Yeah, and that one wasn't really a sketch. Like I mean, the outline obviously was a sketch, but I think the piece of T, that sounds weird. That was the first time I actually started looking for a style to shade these things in, with the idea, okay, so if I'm going to do this, what style am I going to do this in? And I think that is why T, at least for me, works so much better than the original piece that I sent you, because I actually put in a solid effort, to shade the thing and to make it look good. Yeah.
Well, it's like even when we collaborate, like this thing behind me, like when we sat down to make this, you and I were like, we're sharing screens to like, we worked on the background, getting the characters, even like down to the logo and everything behind me. Like that's something that Sandy and I like to do. Is like, we have an idea, like, hey, you awake right now? Like, yeah, like, can we share a screen? Like, yeah, sure. And then we just start working on a project together, and I'm the idiot who's like, maybe a little bluer. Maybe a little like, well, she's doing all the hard, heavy lifting, and I'm just like, I'm like a middle manager. I had 3 cents worth of stuff, like
micromanages. Yeah. On the other hand, was it yesterday or the day before when I sent you the one where Salem and Grim are like looking at each other at the core of the dark thing?
Yeah.
And like you and I were both looking at like something is missing, like something, and then you said it. I'm like, nah, it's good, but there's something wrong. And I was like, oh, I know enough. And there was like 10 minutes later, you got the thing, and we both exactly thought the same thing for that illustration, and we didn't even have to say like I did it. And it was like you were like, boom goes dynamite, and I heard you say that. It was so funny.
Awesome.
Now let's talk about the picture with the them off the side of the building. Let's talk about that picture where we're still fighting to this day.
With the perspective drawings. No, you do it. I cannot. Dude, that one is
up. It doesn't matter. Hey, Luke, how you doing,
was it
man?
2.5 hours?
What's up, Hojo?
2.5 hours.
And thank you for being here as well, Flying Feline. I appreciate you, beautiful. Skull. Kind of ignored the chat. I am so sorry, guys. And Jason dropped a question mark in. But I appreciate everybody being here, listening to us talk about this
Flying
book.
Feline, they just said something nice on Twitter. Was it yesterday or today? So I appreciate that. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah. She's awesome. My partner in crime there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I was I want to give people an idea of who we're talking about. So I'm going to run the character trailer. And by the way, the links for both of all the links that I could find for both of these individuals is down in the description of this video. Everybody should go subscribe to Sandy's YouTube channel as well, so you can see the videos that she's got up here. But I'm going to bring let's see, meet the cast
and her Twitter.
Yes,
or her Twitch.
Oh, I don't think I got the Twitch. Damn it. fucking love that. Lord of assholes. Fuck yeah. It is so cool to see these characters in an illustrated form now, because I've had my mental image of them for so long, and now to see them like in an illustrated format, it's like, oh yeah, it's cool. I fucking love it.
Dude, it's been so dope because we joke about this like we've talked about before. Like for the first, I'd say half sketches, maybe even like 65%. Like I had no input. It was like Sandy just handed me stuff and said, "Here you go," and I'm like, "That's amazing. I'm good." And then later I'm like, I mean, should I actually be like telling you like with some things I like in the book? She's like, "No, I've already earmarked out a picture.
We're good. We're good." You just sit there and keep sending the words and look pretty. I'll do the hard work. Yeah.
I'm the purse puppy at that point. I just hold the yes, ma'am. I'll
stand there.
I'll hold your stuff. No. Still wearing the cargo shorts I wore in 2007 to put all their stuff in that I'm holding. So yeah.
Right. I mean, that's why cargo shorts were invented, right?
My cold dead body, man. They're never getting them back.
I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of the cargo shorts. Recently, I've had to get smaller ones because I've been dropping weight. The ones that I had like a couple months ago, they no longer fit. So had to.
Well, congratulations, man.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. It's been a long road, but I finally found something that works for me. But yeah. Anyway, cargo shorts and weight loss aside, I love this write up here: sins and cyborgs, magic and mystery, voices without virtue, and hell without the hope of heaven. It's a perfect description of this series, man. And I'm so excited for everybody to like get a chance to check this out, because I checked it out via the audiobooks, and we were having a big discussion about audiobooks backstage, and I love the fact that I can get entertained. And the dude that reads these books is fucking great, man. I know the first one was a different dude than the guy that read all the rest.
He unfortunately had to bounce. He's a good guy, but he had some other stuff going on in his life, and he couldn't commit to the project. So it's the worst thing to do is switch narrators like midstream. But so from book 2 forward, it was a new narrator, but it stays consistent. So
it's the same guy that does your Villains Rule books.
Yes.
Yeah, and he does a great job. He
does.
Whole cast of characters, both books. It's all great. Okay, so this is based on the biblical revelation, the rapture and all that. So this is like post-rapture apocalypse essentially, and then technology. Yeah. So what was the first? I mean, you said you went to when you were brought up kind of religious and whatnot. What made you say like this? I need to do this as a story. Like, was there a certain point where you had a scene in your head that just was like that? You know what? I need to turn this into a novel.
I think so roughly 2008. I know because I've always been writing all my life, but when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a writer. My dad says you can't do that. You can't. You just don't become a writer. You have to go to special schools for that, and you're not there, son. You're poor, we're middle class, or we're lower class. It's never going to happen for you, so suck it up. And then the internet happened, so fuck him.
Yeah. Show you, Dad.
I know he was a dick, and he's dead. I don't care.
Well, Straczynski's dad did the same thing to him, and he became, J. Michael Straczynski. So.
Way to kick me while I'm down, man. He's Straczynski, and I'm down here on an Indiegogo. So
I'm just saying, you're on a similar trajectory. Goddamn.
I'm fucking with you, man. So in 2008, I was at work one day. I was bullshitting with some of my friends, and I was kicking around some story ideas of mine. And one of my buddies was like, he's like, what you need to do is write like a cyberpunk book. I'm like, I'm working on one. He's like, but like Heaven and Hell. I'm like, I'm working on that. He's like, did you throw in Cthulhu? I'm like, hold my beer. And
hold my beer. Fuck yes.
So I started like really thinking about like these type of like situations. Now, I will have to say one of my big inspirations. Did you ever read Kirkman's Battle Pope?
I've never read more than a couple of pages of it, but no, I haven't finished
it's like, it was one of those scenarios. I'm working on this idea, then I come across this comic Battle Pope, and I read, and then granted, the Pope is now a superhero beating up demons who are living in this world. So minus the Pope and the comedy, the demons living in the modern world idea was like something I've been thinking about for a while, and getting a chance to visually see what they look like. Now, granted, theirs is a comedy, mine's not, but so I had this one image of like the scene, very much one of the opening scenes of like Salem kind of like going down an alleyway and demons following him. Like, what would he do in this situation? And like,
Right.
and then I started kind of penning out these ideas. And the first thing I wrote was so bad, Luke. It was so bad. It was like such like, what's the word I'm looking for? Power fantasy. It was just like it was like he's acting like a 10th level D&D character beating up on townspeople. Like I'm so strong and I'm so fast and I'm so this.
Right.
And so it didn't work for me. And so I sat on this idea for several years.
Right.
I later saw this interview with Jackie Chan where he says something to the effect of, when Bruce Lee punches a guy, he looks really cool doing it. When I punch somebody, I go, ow, my hand hurts, and he shakes his hand.
Yeah.
And so that gave me an idea, like, that's the kind of protagonist people can get behind. Someone who does something really cool, then fucks up. And so Salem was born from that idea, because that's a human thing.
I like
and
that.
so and I started running with these ideas. So, and I think it was actually like, I read this book. He's a good guy. He's a good writer. His name Peter Kleins, and this thing called X Heroes, and it was like superheroes and zombies in a zombie apocalypse. And it was a neat book. And I'm like, I looked at it and I'm like, well, this is cool. If this can get published, then my ideas can too.
Yeah.
So I just started writing. And from that point forward, I just started cranking this out. And, you know, I finished book 1, started book 2, and then I started shopping it around. And I think I was shot down so many times that, I had a wall of my rejections. I put in dollar store frames and put on my walls as inspiration. All these rejections. Eventually got picked up by a publishing house, let go by a publishing house, picked up by another one, let go by another one. But the third one stuck, you know, and that's where I first got it out there. And when I showed him book 2, he goes, "This is great. Split in 2 books because you've got too much going on." I'm like, son of a bitch. So that became books 2 and 3, and then I just kept going, and you know, I have book 5 out now. So it's been a hell of a ride to like see this thing get wider and deeper at the same time. So usually things get wide, but they stay thin. But like Salem just keeps getting deeper. But when Sandy came along and she started reading it, and then she read book 1 and she book 2, and then the art that comes out, like, sometimes she'll come back, she's like, "Hey, do you remember the thing that happened in chapter whatever?" I'm like, "I wrote that 10 years ago." Like, hang on.
No idea.
Vaguely, hang on a second. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I come
wrote
up
that.
with my 60 post-its and all my color-coded lines underlined.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Like I said, once I saw her
Science
Singularian work, there was such a similarity, difference, but similarity that like she gets it and I get her work, and I think we're going to work well together. And we've been friends for like a little over a year now, and this project we've been working on this for like last 5 months, more, less, I don't know, 6 months.
So the first piece of fan art is from June last year. So I think
Okay.
it's more than 6 months already.
Wow.
Well, when we started committing to do this thing, because we talked about it, and then we were talking to our friends on Red Valkyrie, and Sai and Shay both said, "Oh no, you need to do an Indiegogo," and she and I said, "Well, do we? Because we don't know anybody, and we can just
Loners.
silent release this and."
Nah, you gotta
Blah, blah,
make
blah.
it as loud as possible. You know,
And
this-
well,
the
that's what we've
silent
been
release.
working on.
That's what we're trying, yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, this story is like, yes, you have like biblical apocalypse, you have a dystopia, you have all the trappings. You know, if you like the kind of Jim Butcher, you know, Dresden Files books,
Oh, hell yeah.
you'll like this too, because it fits similar. But I didn't want to set mine in like modern day whatever. Like, what would the apocalypse look like? What would the biblical apocalypse look like?
Yeah.
And how do you get a guy like who's so worldly? You know, one of the hard things when you're writing a story is like you want your Luke Skywalker character, but Luke doesn't know shit. It's Obi-Wan that knows something that takes him on to the next steps. Well, how do you get somebody who's so worldly to act like Luke? Oh, bring in a mage that's like thousands of years old to tell him, "Kid, you don't know anything yet. Let me show you what's really going on."
Right.
And so I'm like, and my love of buddy cop movies then kicked in. So then so they're in and out of adventures like old school Lethal Weapon flicks. So that's
That's the big, you know, them going out on their first adventure, you know, after they meet in the first book. I mean, that was a great way to like kind of show who the characters were and how they bounced off of each other, and some really fun narration from Salem. You know, I enjoy the first person perspective of the book as well.
Yeah. And I think what also makes it so accessible is that there is something for everybody in this book. There's humor. There's like a bit of detective going on. There is a bit of horror going on. There is a super action, but like the best of all the best genres, they all come together. So it doesn't really matter what your like core preference is. You will find it in this book, and that is why, at least for me, it is so accessible. It's so easy to read. You will pick it up and you will just devour this thing because you will find something. You will find something you will like.
I agree. It is a very easy book to pick up and get into.
Exactly.
The world, like I said before, the world feels so lived in, and it feels so cohesive that you get into the story, like, and you're listening to an adventure. I mean, for me, I was listening to an adventure of these guys going out into this unknown world to me, and I'm curious about what's in the world, and I'm wicked curious to see how you've interpreted that world, Sandy, with the illustrations. How many illustrations are we looking at for this book?
Officially 39, but with the cover art, it would be 40.
Okay, all right. And
then, but then honestly, I'm not even mentioning all the character studies that we turned into the Meet the Cast books, because that is a 69-page thick art book as well, with 4 to 5 character studies for each character, and I picked the main 10 characters, so that's another 50 illustrations. So by the end of the ride, I think I've done over 200 illustrations for this.
I'm gonna say, we also have like the 3x5, like the art prints that come within the different tiers of the Indiegogo. Yeah. So the black, so some of the color ones, some of the 3x5s, and like it's watching her the production and the production value that she's been cranking out have been like so much fun, and she probably sent you a link to some of them.
Oh yeah,
you have behind the scenes. So yeah, it is. Like again,
incredible.
I can't say how many times I've been blown away. Like, oh crap, this is awesome.
It's worth getting up really early in the morning for.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear. I mean, that's how you know that you're really into.
I mean, that's for Gib, right? I mean, I'm 6 hours ahead of you guys, so every time I'm like, I got one illustration done. Usually, it's around like midday for me. I'm like, hey, he's probably not awake yet, but fuck it, here it is. It'll wake him up.
Right.
I tend to get up around 6 o'clock every morning, regardless. My old days in the military, I can't sleep in. Or if I sleep in at 7, it's a very rarity. I'm usually up by somewhere between 5:30 and 6:15 every morning, and up and making coffee. And like one of the first things I do is like check my Discord messages. Like, oh, there's Sandy's got a message. Okay, let's check it out. I'm like, oh, that's just cool. And then as soon as she's like, are you awake? I'm like, hang on, this needs 2 cups of coffee. Give me 10 minutes. Okay.
I need a little more caffeine. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Here, as a matter of fact, let me bring up some of the amazing stuff that Sandy sent me.
Because we were aiming for at least one illustration per chapter that exemplifies the scene that's going on. That's a Braxis. Yeah, that's
Lord of Assholes.
Lord of Assholes.
That's one of the at the tier 4 that you get the 6x9 full color prints, and that's one of them.
That's fucking badass. And he definitely has the smug look on his face. Can't see my cursor, but yeah, he's definitely got the smug look on his face. Yeah. Salem getting hit in the mush.
Yes.
Sounds about right. This is an average day for me. Yeah. Poor guy.
When we came up with that, it was just a lot of fun. I'm like, I don't know what we're going to use this for, but then we was like, this is perfect for the black and white.
Because I originally made this one for the fighting scene between him and Vidar.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look very carefully, you see some fur around the cuff, and that's basically just Vidar's fist hammering his face.
Yeah.
And I remember making this one. You were like, yeah, but there, could be so much more in this illustration. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then I was like, but I don't want to throw this one away, so I kept it and we sat on it for a while, and then we came to the art print, and I was like, it's got to be that one. It's gonna have to be that one. Yeah.
Nice.
We threw the text in there just like that because that's. Salem is like that tragic character who's always getting the shit kicked out of him. So I think it's like, so I don't know about you, Luke, but when I was a young lad, I read a lot of Wizard magazines.
Oh, yeah.
There was always a lot. There was this one article that stuck out from like the early 90s that said, if you're ever going to make a superhero, give him healing factor so you can beat the shit out of him and just keep him coming back, And that stuck with me. So Salem, for the as you read the story, it's not really a big spoiler. Like, he is cybernetic because he's got basically a nanite collective inside of him. So it's constantly healing him and making his bones better and giving him it puts him on parity with the demons of this world. So he's not he's stronger than the average human, but he's average against demon strength. So it gives him a level playing field. Yeah. But it also means I can do a lot of damage to him, and he just let him eat a steak.
Yeah,
let him eat a steak and get some food in him, and he can heal back up pretty quick. But
and you definitely you put him through his paces in the second book. I mean, he gets the shit kicked out of him in the first book, but the second book, some of those scenes literally made me go.
Yeah, I felt bad writing it, but then I just kept pressing forward.
Wait. Yeah. There are a couple of scenes from book 2, and I'm like, guys, you really need to sell these fucking 100 copies. 100 copies, and I will do Flotsam Prison Blues because I need it. Because, I already see so many of them.
I had one reviewer say, this has got some laughs, it's got some great action, but book 2 dips a toe into torture porn. I'm like, it does a little bit because it's a world run by demons, and he gets sent to prison in book 2. It's what's going to happen to you in a demon prison? I mean,
just let your imagination run wild with that, and you kind of get an idea where book 2 goes.
There's no molestation, folks. I'll leave that out. So I didn't go that dark. But,
Yeah. Let's see, and is this Grimm?
Yeah, Father Grimm in his lab.
Nice. Oh, duh. It says Grimm right up there. I can read, I swear. This is why I do audiobooks, because words just fucking escape me clearly.
Words are stupid.
Words are dumb.
Dumbass words.
Yeah, this is great. It's cool to see Grimm. It's cool to see all these characters, your interpretation of them. Because you have, like I said, I had an idea in my head, and it kind of crystallizes some of them. Yeah, Mjolnir. Oh shit! I think I know exactly what scene this is from. I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on this book and see, because I've read them. I'm so excited for you guys to get a chance to see these, especially with the illustrations. It's just going to add such a layer to this already awesome story. This is exciting. All right, and that's the last one in that folder. So go ahead and stop at the screen, and we'll bring up the campaign again. There we go.
I mean,
all right, the internet is cool.
We got a new backer since the show started, so whoever did that, thank you.
Yes.
That's you.
Love it.
Oh, is that Luke?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't me. Not yet. Not yet. So I appreciate you, audience. Thank you. Yeah, no, dude, you kidding me? I need this on my shelf. Need to support my friends and put this on my shelf. So this featured tier here. What are we getting in the featured tier? It looks like all of this right here.
Everything. Yeah, that's the whole shebang. So that's the book, the hardcover book, with the 39 illustrations in it. You get a digital PDF of the art book, the Meet the Cast. You get signed book plates, which have literally traveled across the world to get them signed.
So signed by both of you, not just one.
Yes,
but both.
No, both. So
we each ordered 100.
50, yeah.
Right, so we each ordered his 100 and sign them and mail them to the other person. So we can both sign them again. I keep warning you, signatures 1 through 40, you got a shot of being legitimate. 40 on, you get an M and a line,
My hand starts cramping up after a while, Only get a clear signature so much,
Just end up with a little X mark, and then you just write it signed by. So you get the booklet, and you get awesome. A 4x6 black and white mini art print. That's the Salem with the fist to the face. And you get the 3 full color 6x9 art prints. And so what you see in this image, there are still placeholders, but the ones you just showed us through the images, those are going to be the original art prints.
Oh, that's awesome. And those are going to be the 6x9 art prints?
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. And they're all exclusive too. So when we say that, we mean it. They're not in the book, the colored ones especially. Yeah. And they're not gonna be put out anywhere else. So it's just through this Indiegogo. So for art fans, we just wanted to tack that on there. And one thing Sandy and I think we've been very exclusive in the very beginning is we realized that like we had to go through Amazon for the publication because the books already exist. So when we made the hardback version, it will be published on Amazon. The caveat to that is through this Indiegogo, if you're not a fan of Amazon, you buy it through us. We send you the copy. It's like you're
nice.
You know, it's coming from us. You know, we order them on our thing and we send you everything directly. So, and the book itself, you know, the standard book on Amazon is like $35. The tier 3 where you get a copy of the book plus some of the goodies is $30 plus shipping and handling. So you're getting a lot more for a discount by going through the Indiegogo itself. And we built in some add-ons for people like, well, I would love to get like an extra copy to give to a friend. We've got you covered. There are add-ons if you want additional copies. There's even a gift, a grab bag or whatever we call it, a gift set. Gift box, so it's a book, it's a gift, it's an extra book, a print, a PDF, you know. So, you know, we've tailored it enough so that folks can get what they want. And like I said, like Sandy said, if we can get to a certain number of books sold, then we want to definitely move on at some point in the near future for Flotsam Prison Blues.
And I really, 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 really want to. So it's
and I really want her to as well because I want those hook pictures.
What's up, Christopher John? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out, brother. Yeah, man. I definitely want to see your interpretation of Flotsam Prison. And I want to see you do as many of these books as you can because again,
I'm gonna be 80 by the time I'm finished.
there's a lot of content there, but I mean, you know, the audience the audience is there for it. I'm sure. You know, I love cyberpunk and I love every different type of cyberpunk that I can get my hands on. You know, I've read all of William Gibson's books. I've read you know the Altered Carbon series, and I love your take on cyberpunk, man. It's a little bit different, you know. And like you said, a little Shadowrun, but you know that's just cyberpunk and magic. That's the basis. It's like a genre of its own, and then you're playing in that and adding things to it.
The one thing I think I want to like just clarify with that is that good to
see you.
I love when magic and technology mixes together in such a way like. That's the reason I love classic Star Wars because, you know, as Star Wars without the Force, and no offense to anybody else who's a Star, is kind of just generic sci-fi.
It really is.
It once you add the Force and you have something special. You know, otherwise, I mean, if I want that, I'll go watch Babylon 5 or Star Trek or something else, you know. But once you add the mystical and the technological come together, but that's just a world.
Yeah.
That's not characters.
Yes.
And I like to believe I put my characters first. I have a backdrop. The world exists. The world feels lived in. It's the characters and their motivation because the story in itself is like you have a guy who has been alone for a very long time who convinced himself, I don't need anybody else until he gets infected with feelings because he starts to realize you can't exist on your own. No man is an island. Yep. And that is the core of the story. So once he starts allowing that back into his life, you know, and as the books go on, you learn why he kind of closed himself off. It's being responsible, daring to care again. You know, like I hope is always my theme for all these books, but I put hope at a very far distance when everything's dark and gloomy around you. It's that one point of light to aim for. And that's what I want these stories to come across, you know. And so these are character-driven stories in a cyberpunk, magical, demon-infested world that is, and they are fun. I mean, if I'm a little biased. I'm biased. I'll admit it.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, when you're writing something, when you're doing anything creative, you got to entertain yourself first, right? If you're not entertained, then how the hell is the audience going to be entertained? You know, if you're not having fun making it, you know, one, why are you doing it? And two, like, you're not going to entertain anybody if you're doing something just because you think, oh, well, this will get the audience, or oh, that'll get the audience.
I just love punching myself in the balls all so often. It's like, you don't? I mean, just every so just bam,
right?
And you just do it again. You know?
More, yeah.
You know, I mean, hey, you know, whatever you do in your free time is, you know, it's on you, dude.
Whatever.
You know?
Don't kink shame me.
Yeah.
Don't you kink
hey,
shame
no shame here. You know, you spend your free time doing whatever you want,
Safe
man.
space.
You know, and if it inspires you for stuff later, you know. Let's see. What's up, Agent Zero? Good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out, man. See, Brian agrees. You got to entertain yourself, you know. Otherwise, you know, the audience ain't going to be entertained, you know. And if you entertain yourself by punching, you know.
Each their own.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I enjoy listening to audiobooks. It inspires me, but, you know.
Well, I mean, it's again, it's like I grew up with comics, same as a lot of folks, you know, and I love that medium. Like I loved when visualizing a story, so story and words blending together. So
Yes.
again, Sandy was my perfect counterpart for this, because her pen evokes the words in ways that I couldn't, you know, and I mean, even like what you're hovering over right there.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that hand on the arm. That's the scene where he first comes to Midheim, and the guy's like, "Hey, next time you come here, you bring something." And Salem's already like, "Pull your fucking hand off me. You're gonna pull back a nub," kind of thing. And it's like it hits that. And when she's some of the scenes in the thing where you feel like this wasteland society that's kind of built up like Appalachian Vikings, and like it looks like what I imagined in my head. You know, I didn't even tell her what the Outrider looked like, and she could draw it. You know, like Grimm's car behind.
Yeah,
and it was perfect.
But honestly, I mean, you can put this on me, but it pretty much means, Gabe, that what you are writing is strong enough for me to pick up on the visual. You know, I mean, you have a very visual style of writing, and for me as an artist, you're just throwing it at me like, here, this is what you need to do. This is what you need. It looks like that, and this hardly took me any effort to get the idea right, because it is all so well written in the book. So I mean, it's shared effort, but you do give yourself some credits there as well, dude.
I'll take a little bit.
Yeah. I love the artwork. Hang on a second.
Say that again.
Sorry about that. I had somebody pop in. I guess I need to put a sign on the door that says I'm live. But yeah, I love now actually that reminds me of a question. Beautiful black and white art. I'm such a black and white stan. That reminds me to ask, is it going to be black and white? Are the color illustrations just in the prints, or how's that working?
Yeah,
like the
so
illustrations
the book
in the
itself,
book.
Yeah, the book is going to be black and white.
Okay.
So the only thing you're going to get in full color is the full color art prints.
Awesome.
And perhaps later I will make a full color art book, but
right. Well, I mean, you know,
Maybe.
I'm with Brian. I love black and white. I feel like, you know, black and white gets the contrast. You get the storytelling that comes across.
Yeah.
Sometimes color can just mute all that or distract
you know
from
what?
all that.
The black and white here, it adds to the sort of neon noir that we have. Even though the word neon is in like neon white, the black.
I'm live.
I'm
sorry.
live,
Go
damn
ahead.
it. That bright white evokes the neon of this world, while the dark represents the grit, and it comes across. Also, just a good black and white print is just that good.
I mean,
Great,
we considered looking into full color. Like I made a series, you know, of the original illustrations, and I also did them in color, and we put those in, and we looked at it, and I mean, it's not like we decided this because it was too expensive. I mean, yes, it will be more expensive if you do a full color print.
Sure.
But we just looked at it at some point, and we were like, you know what, the black and white matches so well with what we already have here, and especially with the new layout. Like the book itself, like the interior of the book has gotten an entirely new layout.
Yeah.
As well, so I mean, the only thing that's going to be the same is the story. Everything else is going to be 100% new.
Yeah.
And just all these pieces together, they screamed, just do it black and white. Less is more.
Yeah.
100%.
What? And it lets the, like I said, the contrast, you know, stand out. You know, the storytelling comes through. You know, it's I don't know, more. I guess I would say more visceral. Like again, sometimes the color takes away from the impact that the contrast black and white can have. You know, I'm a sucker for black and white line work. You know, I love artist editions of comics. So, you know, like, but I will say that's pretty fucking badass right there.
If you have
limited
access
color
to the art book, don't you?
Say what?
Sorry, you have access to the little art book.
Oh yeah, I have access to all the stuff that you showed.
Because they are all in full color, and you will. I mean, it looks great, but for the book itself, you will instantly know that it would just be too much.
Cast. Let's see. Is it in? Nope, that's just the cover.
It's the art. I think
it says Meet the Cast.
Oh, Meet the Cast. Okay.
Meet the Cast. Yeah, that's right.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Agent Zero.
That particular image of Ricky she did blew me away because it's like limited color, just hints of it, and that's all you really needed. And That particular character alone is one of my most favorite I've written, because in some ways he's like the Godfather character in a lot of stories, so things tend to revolve around him. You know, he's the mover and shaker. Salem's doing his
making
thing.
shit happen.
He's the plucky one, but this is the power behind the power. You know.
Yeah. All right. Let me stop this screen. Let me bring up. Share screen.
Sandy, fam, go.
Meet the cast.
What? What am I doing? What?
What?
Oh, that's a negative. Why is it a negative? That's weird.
Because
Oh,
your
you know
thing's
what?
set up for
Probably
negative.
because.
Oh.
Yep, I got it in dark mode. Oh, hang on.
Oh. There it is.
And
I love that cover.
let's see, light. There we go.
That one actually has some merit. I'm not gonna lie.
There we go.
You want
Yeah,
to change the cover?
Damn it!
No, too late. I love this. I love this neon color. I love this.
Yeah. The
I mean,
colors
this
fit
is pretty
perfectly
much the color
for
scheme when we-
cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love the trade dress on all this. It fits perfectly.
We had such a blast doing this, because when you were doing some piece with that hex work, and I said, like, can we start putting those in the pages? And you're like, yeah. And we started like playing off ideas with each other. You'd already built a couple of the pieces, and then we started building some more of them together. And it's just, oh God. And I was like, she's like, I need you to write up all this crap. And I'm like, damn it, I know I got work to do. Okay. And building it was fun, you know, because we started doing these things called tit puns, the illustrated Technomancer production update notes. We started sending out to people, you know, people who are on our mailing list. And so we started taking a lot of these things, a lot of these like little write-ups that Sandy asked me for, like, you know, because okay, full stop. She's been the production team. She's what's what I'm looking for, the project manager. She gives me assignments and like pings me to let me know when I'm due. And I'm like, so,
Yeah. What's up, Black Rose? Good to see you, man. Yeah, B Rose is a big fan of the cyberpunk, so this book is right up your alley. Then B Rose, definitely check this one out.
I like the cyberpunk world meant so much to me. So when I wanted to contribute to it, like I couldn't stand on the backs of those other greats, and like without like I've got to kind of go slightly lateral. So when I added in the magic and the supernatural with cyberpunk, that's my contribution. So
Yeah, adding a new wrinkle to the cyberpunk genre, you know. I mean, that's what we do, right? We take the stuff that inspires us and we try to make our own interpretation of, you know, we try to interpret it through our lens and add something new to the genre. You know, no matter what genre you're working in, you want to add something new to it. You want to do something a little
unique.
bit different.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, something that'll make the story stand out.
Because okay, so I may have told the story before, so apologies on repeating myself. When I was stationed up in Alaska, I lived up there from 2001 to 2004, and so I lived in an apartment by myself. It was my first time living my own solo apartment, and I was it was dark, it was cold, I was isolated. I had made the next rank, so the people that were my friends a few months before, all of a sudden now I'm the enemy because I'm now a sergeant. So I was feeling these incredible pangs of dread, depression, solitude, isolation, and I kept trying to lie to myself, like I don't need anybody, I don't need anything, fuck everybody else. I've got my jerk off machine and videos. I'm good. And I had my collection of DVDs and movies and books and comics, and I would sit there and look at my collection and like, but there's no one to share it with. Yeah. And I was like, so I had to like get out of my head and go out into the darkness and embrace it. So that's what I like refer to as my winter crucible, you know. So that was the impetus behind creating the Salem character, like taking those real emotions that I went through and giving it on.
Isn't it even a title of one of your chapters, like A Century of Reruns Sucks Balls?
Yes.
I pretty much just heard you explain the title of that chapter.
So yeah, that
this is the original. This is it. This is it.
That's
I just
cool.
love the
No,
color.
it's got a mood though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's totally got a mood that you captured. Yeah.
She went black and white, then added these splashes of watercolor, just like to the cyberpunk. I'm like, that's just fucking baller, and we just started going from there.
Hell yeah, and it's got to start somewhere.
That's where it all began.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. I retired 2016, so yeah, it was a hell of a ride.
Yeah, I mean, you made it through. The future is looking grim. I love these the taglines for each one of these. You know, what makes you think the devil has not already found you? Fucking great. I love the way their relationship starts out. You know, like the interaction
I love
between
Grim in general.
Yeah, Grim.
Can I have
Grim
a life-size
awesome.
Grim somewhere?
You know, Grim is often the straight man to Salem's nonsense, and it's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, when I drop a joke in for Grim, it's so like jarring at the moment, you know,
Out of left field. Yeah,
Right.
it's great. You know, and it just kind of
what was it?
reinforces his character.
There's some line where like, I think Salem says something like, "He's like, I bet you're like all into chess and shit." He goes, "I hate chess. It's predictable. It's boring. It's contrived." He's like, "Well, what do you like?" "Paintball."
Paintball.
Like, Grim's just a paintball fanatic. You know?
Yep. Loves paintball. It's you know, tactics and you know, strategy
Ever-moving,
and you know, athletics. Yep. Yep. And Salem's just like, the fuck? What? Let's see. B Rose says, for Cerebrum, I went the route of cybernetics are a detriment and an eyesore as opposed to them being useful. Society split between pure humans and cybernetic prosthetics. Yeah, see?
That's really cool. I had something similar. I mean, I'm glad great minds think alike. When I was doing this, like I described some of them like, if you have the money, then you can get a nice clean looking one, but most people look like erector sets and plugged in. And the other problem is like, it was like, you know, if you know anybody who's ever unfortunately had to have a transplant in their life, they're taking anti-rejection medications for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that in the future. Like, you can't just slam a toaster in somebody's ass and call it a day. They're going to be on meds for the rest of their life, or it's going to shorten their lifespan. So every time someone gets an upgrade, no matter how good it is, you're literally shaving years off someone's like life. You know, so yeah, you got a mech loader arm at your job, but you just took 10 years off your life.
Right.
So,
I don't know if that's necessarily worth it to me. You know.
right, but like in this demon society, like, oh, you got hurt on the job, that's your fault. What are you going to do to fix it?
It's up to you to stay healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah. That is cool. With his hat.
So yeah, just sometimes with splashes of color, they work, and sometimes, like you said, we try to pick the good ones here, like that came out in such a way that exposed, but we still love our tried and true black and whites in the actual novels themselves.
Well, I mean, look at what Frank Miller did with Sin City. You know, Yellow Bastard, or A Dame to Kill For. You know, with the blue eyes. You know, that spot color works. Yeah.
Yeah.
The red lipstick, exactly. You know, that it draws attention to things. You know, it helps emphasize. This is an awesome book.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically we did. Yeah, this was the second piece of fan art. So this was like we talked about at the beginning, the first time I started experimenting with like shading styles and stuff. And if you look carefully, I mean, if you look at all the other ones, you can see that this one is still a little bit different. Like this one is the odd one out. But I think in the basics, I don't think much has changed.
It's so
you can
cool
you can
to
tell
see.
like the brush strokes have changed. That's it. But
This was the picture that was my selling point. The first one with the watercolor like got me intrigued, and like once Sandy pulled this out of her ass, like, all right, we're in. You know, like.
And I actually used it, and that's always a little bit of a little fun fact about how I did the Tesla head in there, because that is actually based on the original death mask of Nikola Tesla.
Oh,
so
okay.
there was a lot of morbid research going on in the actual dead face of this man.
Right.
And I had to like redraw and resketch and get the lighting right to get the cheekbones out and everything. That was a ride, yeah.
That's cool. It's cool to see the again. I'm enjoying seeing your interpretations of all these, you know, these different characters that I've had, you know, in my head, just as my you know, the way I interpreted them. It's cool to see them in artwork. I'm digging this, you know. And I remember the first time that I was reading the book and you know, Tesla pops up. I'm like, what? Fucking love Tesla, you know, and it adds another wrinkle to it, you know, because
Did not see that coming.
Yeah, exactly.
There it
That
is.
was just fun because I've been a fan of his since I was a little kid. You know, you read like some of the crazy, like Tesla had death rate stories, and Tesla had these, like weird things. I read this one biography that someone wrote that like he would like every time he took a bite of food, he would mathematically calculate the sum area total of the food that's going into his body. Like he would look at it and like get it just insanity. And there was one I read where like he was friends with because he was the introvert and his friend Mark Twain, because they had met during, he loved coming over for his experiments. He was the extrovert. He was the wild and crazy guy. And Tesla was like, he would let him stand inside of his Tesla coils and all this lightning and all this cool shit. So I like this genius, this was lost in time. I'm like, well, did he have to? What if he faked his death? What if he continued on? What if like he became the first real cyborg by he found a way to like keep his brain functions going forever? And I'm like, oh, I just got to do this. So it was like, there was no like greater idea than like, I would just want to fucking do this. He's been such a fun, he also acts as a comedy. Listen, James Bond needs his Q and Salem needs his upgrade. The guy who's ever going to give him the upgrades, it's better to come from the best. So that's why I have Tesla around.
Yeah. And it works perfectly as well. You know, just it fits with the world that you've created. You know, it fits. So yeah, he's one of my favorite characters because you know he's cute, but he's also a little bit of a wild card. You know, sometimes you don't know what to expect from.
You don't know what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so cool. Oh, look, there's the death mask you were talking about.
There it is. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I'm gonna stop showing you the art book because you guys need to go grab this right now because it's fantastic. Like I mean, there's more pictures of T and you know Vidar and Volley. So yeah, you guys need to go grab this. I'm gonna bring back up the
now quick ask Sandy.
Campaign.
Now ask Sandy which one of the Spinelli sisters is which. Quiz.
No, please don't.
All right.
Don't. I'm scared.
Shrink this down just a little bit. All right, and all right. So Lord Baron, this is like the kind of basic tier that you still get a signed book plate. Holy shit!
All right. So one thing that these things I haven't mentioned yet. We've been running over a lot of the perks. $5 is you get the PDF. And your name goes in the book in perpetuity. So what we're gonna do is, after the campaign ends, the very next day, we're going to re-upload a new PDF with everybody's name. So when these things go to print, if you backed this thing, it would be like special thank you to like all your names listed because like your name like this couldn't have been done without you. So we want to in perpetuity, all names of backers will be in this book forever.
Awesome.
So that's for people that, hey, listen, I just got $5 and just this sounds cool. I love the digital PDF and throw my name in the book. Fantastic. $10 will get you everything we just name in the book, the PDF, and one of the signed book plates. And I think that's also you get a print.
The black and white art print.
You get the black and white Salem getting socked in the mouth. It's like, listen, all I got is $10 right now. I might get the book later on Amazon, so I got the signed book plate. Hey, fantastic! We really appreciate that. The tier 3 is where it gets a little bit more, so it's like that's $30, but you get the book. The book by itself on Amazon is $35, so you're already getting a discount there.
Yeah.
And then you're getting name in the book, PDF, black and white print, the signed book plate.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome.
And then we also had to add these in because we have friends worldwide.
Oh yeah,
right.
Europe. Well, because it's like we signed up for like European Union and United States, totally forgetting that Brexit happened and that people, our fans in Finland and some other places aren't in the European Union. Like motherfucker. So we had to go back in and build in like the same things over. For our worldwide fans.
You gotta take that into account, man. And
well, we didn't. We screwed up, but we fixed it.
You fixed it. That's the point.
Good recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's why a lot of people do the digital, just so everybody worldwide can at least get a chance to read the story. You know, a lot of comics, just do the digital PDF.
And we did the big tier because we know what an art print costs. And you go to a convention, you get so and so to give you like a color art print or something like that, or especially a limited edition art print that's not going to be anywhere else. So we bumped that up, and it's $50. So it's 3 full color art prints, limited edition.
It's for your loot crate, yeah.
At that point. you know, we tease with the idea if we get to Flotsam actually making loot crate boxes to send to folks, but like for this
That
first
would be
campaign,
cool.
we're trying to get our like, this is my first Indiegogo.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Sandy's or not. So so this is my first time venturing into this world, and so far the people have been amazing. The fans out there have been amazing. The people who support this kind of independent work is amazing because, listen, I read stuff from the big six, or I used to, not as much. I read more independent authors than I do standard authors. Same thing with comics. You know, I've backed several on Indiegogo, and there's some really just you get the love that people put into this work. You know, and it's
100%.
Yes, there might be a mistake here or there. We understand that, but it's what's coming across is passion. And I think that's what the fans respond to is the passion that goes into this. So
that's one of the things that I always say is that the indie sector is where you find the passion for things. But yeah, you know, this is where, you know, this is where people got skin in the game is another thing I always like to say, you know, because with the indie authors, with the indie comic book creators, like usually it's a story that's been kicking around in their head for years. You know what I mean? And you know, it gives them an opportunity to actually get this out there, and you know they want to see it succeed because sometimes they need it to succeed. You know, they've sunk, you know, time, effort, and money into it, blood, sweat, and tears to make this thing succeed. So skin in the game. Yeah, you know, I mean, you use whatever materials you got. You know. Christopher John says Tesla's actual genius seems to be lost forever. His research was secreted away and sequestered. And he says, no one is forcing you to have an after party, but no one is stopping you. Well, the finishing of the condo is stopping me. Don't worry, there will be Thursday shows later on, my friend. So I'm excited for people to get their hands on this, man. And you got no excuse worldwide. You can get everything, you know, and it's the same. Yeah, it goes everywhere. They're shipping everywhere.
Yes. I mean, and that's the great part from like an ocean being between us. I mean, Gib got his side of the world, and I will take my side of the world, and yeah, it works.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go down here to this. Let's leave it on the black and white artwork. Okay, so how many pages are we looking at total? How many pages is the book itself, not including the
270 something?
Yeah,
so she's on top of it.
Yeah, no, it's like 276.
I mean, I'm the designer. I do the formatting. I know.
Right.
Because the book itself is
it's
a 7x10 book. We bumped it up from the standard paperback size of 6x9 to 7/10 category for that hardback feel. So it won't sit too awkwardly on your shelf, but it'll be like so. It's also so it won't be like the standard like paperbacks like just over 300. So that up inch and over an inch shrinks it just a tiny bit, but it's like so you get a chance to actually like see your artwork. So if you're seeing your artwork in 7x10, that like gives you a chance to actually like view it. And that's what we don't want any bigger than that. Then it's like that damn 300 graphic novel that doesn't sit on your screen on your shelf the right way.
Right.
Well, then it gets its own shelf. I'm okay with that.
Right. Sandy's like, I'll take up more shelf real estate. I mean, I'm fine with that. Hell yeah. Oh, that is going to look great on the shelf. When are you guys looking to fulfill?
So the campaign ends at the end of May, and so we will start fulfillment early June. Our goal is to have we would like to have everything out throughout the course of June. I guess so. As soon as we get the copies in, start stuffing and start sending. You know, it's as simple as that. You know, I work from home now, so I don't have any excuses as to not to. So it is literally like as soon as the campaign ends, re-upload the new PDF. So it's got everybody's name attached to it. We go live on Amazon, and then we start fulfilling the orders from there. But we will stuff them at our own homes and send them to you directly.
That's
so you can bypass Amazon all the way to get it. So.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm all for bypassing giant corporations whenever possible, because they make entirely too much money already. So you know, give money directly to the creators if you can. That's my philosophy on it. You know, that's how we keep independent stuff like this going. This is how we get new projects. This is how we create an alternative market over here to create new things. So go back this. Go jump on this book. As a matter of fact, B-Rose says he's definitely backing it when he gets the funds. Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Totally cool. Yeah.
Definitely worth your time, worth your money.
Like, if I
all
had a
right.
strong army, I would, but it's one of those like granted, we'd like to keep this thing going, but we have until it's going to run up to, I think it's May 31st is the last day of the campaign.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give people enough time. We just went live on 31 March, so it's only been just not even a week yet. So
Hell yeah.
and we reached a decent amount to begin with, so like we're very humbled by our.
I mean, we had it
we're very
funded in like
thankful.
30 minutes,
Yeah.
so and that was
Right.
crazy. The start was wild.
Right.
Yeah.
And we
That's
immediately start
fantastic.
getting the cold scam calls like, we see you think it could be better. Contact me on Fiverr. I'm like, piss off.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, the leeches come out when they smell a little bit of success,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I have an opinion.
Yeah. It's everybody trying to chase something, right? Just
Yeah.
all you can do is just kind of ignore that shit and just keep rolling, You got a
Report
plan,
them all.
right?
Yeah.
It's like the new version of the robocalls or the scam calls,
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Somebody sells your phone number, and now you have to block like every single call that comes
That
through.
blacklist is growing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like if I don't recognize this number, it's not getting through.
I'm not gonna
Yep.
pick up now.
Seriously, that's been happening
Yeah.
to me recently.
Oh, I've been getting them. I've been getting them in tweet formats and emails.
Oh, yeah?
Ever since, I've been getting a lot of those. There's even a couple that couple comments on the campaign itself was like, I see that you're making some progress with my help and thanks to Fiverr, I can get you
On
in further."
Fiverr,
I'm
yeah.
like,
I'm like,
Right.
wow, that
Okay,
really seems
sure.
professional.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take you seriously.
Tell
Yeah.
me more,
There was,
Nigerian
there was
prince.
one comment and it
Right.
made me so laugh, and I couldn't resist.
it's the one
I
on
dumped
Twitter, the one you're
super
like-
passive-
Yeah.
The
Yes.
super passive aggressive, like, I see something is missing, and then I think I
Yeah.
responded, well, I don't know what exactly is missing if you got it funded.
Feel
for
free
like
to drop it in
300%
this
after
this
30
link,
minutes.
this thread here. Jesus. And then you go and look at the profile, and they've got like 7 followers. It's like, yep,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
definitely know what you're doing. Totally. I'm gonna
This
believe
isn't
you.
a fake account at all. Yeah.
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 This isn't a burner.
I love
All right,
that. Sorry,
so,
sometimes I just can't help myself with those.
What else would you guys like to say about this project before we wrap this up? That we haven't gone over. Is there
Pressure.
any
The greatest book you've ever read. No, well,
You know what? From an artist perspective, I really think. So, okay, I've done some really big ass projects. I mean, I spent 2 years writing my own book, illustrating my own book, and then I did this. And I'm not gonna lie when I say this is really one of the coolest projects I have ever worked on. Like legit.
Thank
awesome.
you.
And you get to work with your buddy. The friendship, the camaraderie will definitely
It
come
all
out.
works.
The collaboration, it will come through. And the fact that you both sound like you're having a really good time working on this, and that excitement feeds off of itself.
Yeah.
It's like a perpetual motion machine. You just keep moving
kinda
forward.
is,
Yeah. I mean, I'm exhausted, but I will keep going because I just love doing this.
Yeah.
It's
See,
it's
and
cool.
that will come through. That will come through in
Yeah.
the project. So what's next for you guys? I mean, obviously, if this is a success, going to do Flotsam Prison.
Yeah.
Nice.
I will say what's next is a break, like a
Sure.
long holiday.
Catch your breath. Yeah.
At least 3 months, just nothing.
Yeah. Recuperate.
And then,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Like,
then I'll be gearing up. So
I'm still
I don't know,
writing.
maybe I'm looking at October if we reach the goal, which we probably will, or at least I hope I will. Then somewhere around October I will start doing new sketches and new concepts and.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm just still plugging away. Like, so the 5th book came out last year, and because as soon as I finish the 2 books I'm on now, like Technomancer 6 is my next to-do list. The Devil's Right Hand would be the next book. And
Nice.
well, every book is named after a Johnny Cash song.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
I kind of picked up on that with the second one. Yeah.
and the last book will eventually be Ring of Fire. So it's like I have a plan. So yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, for the last thing to say, I would say if you're on the fence about this, like these are the kind of stories that make you like want to get back into like reading books and having stories again.
Yeah.
It's they take you on adventures and they make you care, and then I like to smash your feelings into the ground and then I pick you back up again. So it's
Yeah.
because it's fun for me.
It's a chaotic roller coaster. It's good shit.
It's the,
You know,
it's the
it
sadist
keeps
in every
you
writer. Yeah.
keeps you on your toes. Yeah, 100%. I listen. I already told you guys in my tweet. I'm a big fan of this series. I'm super excited to get a chance to take a look at the actual book once it's done. I'm super excited for any of you that have never encountered these books before to get a chance to read this book and see the amazing artwork that Sandy's putting together for it. So this is super exciting, and I want to see more. So hit those links and back this book on Indiegogo now.
And share with any friend that's even remotely into cyberpunk or supernatural
Yes.
urban fantasy.
Yeah.
'Cause it
Sharing
all
is
kind of blends
caring.
in. Sharing is caring. So
For real.
Absolutely.
and like also, I think we want to say, Luke, thank you. Seriously, dude. We know
Oh,
you're a fan, but you're also
absolutely.
just a good person.
100%.
And you've been awesome. So thank you for having us on. We really appreciate
Dude,
it.
you're more than welcome, man. I was actually planning on reaching out to you when you hit me up that day, just because
Aw.
I missed the live stream that you did with Red Valkyrie, and I wanted to be there for that. But mostly I wanted to get a chance to talk to you guys about this project. Again, love these books. Love you guys. This has been super fun. Thank you so much for coming to hang out.
Thank you.
And chat, you guys are amazing. I appreciate you being here. And
Pleasure talking to all y'all. Seriously.
if I can get my mouse to cooperate. Remember, chat.
Shop smart, shop S-smart.
Did it? Nope.